For last, Kate has been involved in so many projects this week. So let's give it up for Kate. She's going to show you EchoEllis.
Alexa, open citizenship test.
Welcome to the U.S. Citizenship Practice Test. I will ask you 5 questions. Try to get as many right as you can. Just say the answer. Let's begin. In what month do we vote for president?
Is it November?
That answer is correct. Your score is 1. Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II?
Franklin Roosevelt.
That answer is correct. Your score is 2. What is the name of the Speaker of the House of Representatives now?
I think it's Paul Ryan.
That answer is correct. Your score is 3. What stops one branch of government from becoming too powerful?
Checks and balances.
That answer is correct. Your score is 4. Who was the first president?
George Washington.
That answer is correct. You got 5 out of 5 questions correct. Thank you for practicing your civics knowledge with Alexa.
Pretty cool, huh? So those of you who are from New York may recognize this viewpoint quite well. And behind Lady Liberty is a little island behind it named Ellis Island. If you are like me, you are one of the 2 out of 5 Americans who can trace their ancestry back to 1 or more people who came through Ellis Island. This is my family, or at least a part of it, at the point where they were coming through Ellis. And it's in their honor, especially as a result of the fact that they were coming to America to escape persecution by a fascist government on the basis of their religion. And so for them, I named it EchoEllis. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about leveraging some of the tools that we have that back up tools like Amazon Echo and Alexa to help people who are trying to make that jump so that they too can become citizens and vote. So today, the process of being a citizen is actually really, really difficult and is likely to get harder as our policy changes over time. The USCIS likes to cite that the process takes around 2 years, and this is something I'm intimately involved in as I am in HR and I do paperwork for work visas all the time. But ones for sponsorship can take up to a decade because you might not even be eligible for them. One of the last parts of the process, which one is very stressful for people who are finishing, is the citizenship interview and exam, which will have questions like the one you heard. So a live interviewer is going to ask you 10 random questions out of 100 in total, and you have to get at least 7 correct in order to pass to become a citizen. So imagine you have this huge high stakes last step, and you've spent 10 years, maybe even longer. You've been through a lot of time and money with your family and a lot of strain to get to this point. And you get anxious while you're on the spot answering questions in a language that might not be your first one to a live interviewer who you've never met. And this happens to about 9% of all applicants who do not pass the exam. So the USCIS recognizes that this is a really high burden and has provided recently some audio resources, but they are just downloadable MP3s. It's a really great tool, but as I know now from working at a educational application, that passive methods like listening or reading text is for a lot of people not a complete way to absorb information. We actually learn a lot from being forced to speak out loud, to repeat questions, and to have to do them dynamically on the spot. So this is a great application, Alexa, because the USCIS actually only considers specific answers to be acceptable responses to the questions that are posed. So enter the Amazon Echo. It's a voice-activated device that uses the assistant Alexa. While it can do a lot of cool stuff, like turn on the lights in your house or order paper towels, or as I figured out, you can actually order live bees on Amazon by Alexa. I did not have my credit card put in for that one, thankfully. I actually find that the platform that it's built on, which is called Lambda, is really, really powerful because you get to build your own interaction models that can match things like the exam. So they easily actually do go beyond the hardware. They can be used with a web-based simulator. Practice tests can easily be installed on a web page in addition to the existing USCIS study guide. And I think this is really important because policy changes a lot, and platforms like these, especially with language processing, are really, really great at actually figuring that out, because what is legislation but, you know, a pull request? So there's even more applications that I think it should be used for. So even after you've become a citizen, let's say you make it through this huge, enormous process, and now it's time to vote. Almost all of our forms and requirements, understanding how you register, who is even eligible, are really hard to understand, even for people who speak English as a first language. We tend to have a tendency to write all of our legislation in jargon. It's something that when I was in school for public policy, I felt very strongly about. Plain language saves lives. So a conversational assistant can actually help you with learning and practicing what to say or what to expect at the polls, and to make sure that after you've been through all this process, that once every 4 years, you do get to exercise that right to vote. So voters with English language difficulty, and I want to stress again that this is not just people for whom English is a second language, but also people who have a proficiency that is below the graduate reading level that is the legalese of most government forms. Can face challenges and at times discrimination from people who are working at the polls or people around them who may challenge them without understanding whether or not they're eligible. In worst cases, there are often false assumptions that language difficulties mean that a voter is ineligible to cast a ballot. So knowing what to say, you can just as easily practice a dialogue like the one I have up here. I'm here to vote. Here's my water bill for my identification. A utility bill is an acceptable form of voter identification. Do you have photo ID, says the potential poll voter, or the poll employee. I do not need a photo ID to vote in this state. I have this bill. And if they continue to insist, it can help you learn how to say that you would like to request a provisional ballot, as is your right. So conversational tools like Alexa and the processing power that it sits on are really, really powerful. And I think if I want people to take anything away from this, it's that leveraging this kind of technology that we use to just like buy stuff or order an Uber by saying a word can actually be used to have a really tremendous impact on civic institutions. And I want us to all be thinking about that when we go through our daily lives. It can help us use our voices to protect our rights to vote and ensure that others can use theirs too. So if I have a call to action and a way that I know that it would go viral, is to tell you to keep building. Keep using these tools and these gifts that I know are all throughout this room to make sure that we look forward to the next 4 years and beyond. Thank you.